Starting from the basics, what is the Cartesian product? Suppose there are two sets A and B. It has 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If you find the Cartesian product, we will find all the combinations. 1 with 3, 1 comma 3, 1 with 4, 1 comma 4, 2 with 3, and so on. If A has m elements and B has n elements, then the total number of mn connections, okay, the total number of mn connections, see, the total number of relations are 2 raised to mn. Mn means total number of connections which can be formed. Suppose the set A had 3 elements 1 2 3, and set B had 2 elements 4 comma 5. One can be connected with these two can be connected with these two, similarly 3 can be connected with these two. So total 6 connections are possible. So the total number of relations from A to B can be told as 2 raised to mn, okay, where m and n are 3 and 2 in this case. The topic of Cartesian products, you can have these type of questions like A cross B union C is equal to A cross B union A cross C. You need to prove this. So firstly you need to take an element x. X belongs to A and y belongs to B union C. Then what you need to do? Expand this. B union C means B or C. So y can be belonging to B, y can be belonging to C. Okay, or now if you're considering this whole, you can write as x belongs to A and y belongs to B, or x belongs to A and y belongs to C. Now in next step what you will write, x comma y belonging to A cross B, and here A cross C. Okay, then after writing that you will write x comma y you take as common belonging to A cross B union A cross C. Then finally you will write this equation what you had to prove. Okay, in that way you have to solve the questions if they ask for proof. 5 types of relations. Reflexive and irreflexive are totally opposite of each other. If A comma A belongs to R for all A belongs to A, then it is reflexive. If A comma A, no A comma A should belong to R for all A comma A. Okay, even if any one of the element has like 1 comma 1 belongs to that R, then it is not a irreflexive relation. Okay, then coming to symmetric relation and asymmetric relation, these both are opposite of each other. Like A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A belongs to R, B comma A belongs to R, that is symmetric. Similarly asymmetric is B comma A does not belong to R. Now antisymmetric is a bit different. It is same as asymmetric relation, but in that what is there, if A comma B belongs to R and B comma A belongs to R, then A is equal to B is possible. If A is equal to B, then it can be called as antisymmetric relation. It's not necessary that in this A comma A also can't be belonging to R. If A is equal to B also, it should not belong to R. Okay, but in that it is one exception. That's the only difference. Coming to transitive relations, you have 3. A comma B belong to R and B comma C belong to R. If these both belong, then A comma C also belongs to R, then it is known as transitive relation. For equivalence classes, they will be giving you a relation. You need to find the equivalence class of like 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so what you need to do, if you want to find the equivalence of class of 1, you need to check where all 1 is coming here. Okay, like see 1 comma 1 is there, so this element will be chosen. 1 comma 2 is there, this element will be chosen. Like that you need to check all. So 1 is connected with 1 and 1 is connected to 2, so 1 comma 2 you will write here. Similarly for 2 and 3, for 3 only 3 is there, right? So you will write just 3 here. Okay, that is known as equivalence classes. Partition of a set is pretty simple. If there is a set which has the elements from A1 to AK, if you divide A1 to A2 as one set, then A3 to A4 as one set, like that many sets you will divide, that is known as the partition of a set. Okay, suppose this is a set, these are many divisions among the set, that is known as partition of a set. Suppose they give you two sets A and B. Okay, these are the elements in A and these are the elements in B, and they give you R. Okay, or if they give you, what you have to do, you have to find the matrix of 0 to 1. If they ask you to find, what you need to do, first write the elements of A here, elements of B here. If it has the connection in R, 1 and 4 has the connection, so in 1 comma 4 make 1 here, and 2 comma 5 has the connection. For 2 comma 5 make 1 here, rest all will be 0 because no other elements are present in that. That is known as matrix. Second thing, you will have a digraph. Digraph means if A has these elements A, B, C, D and R is given A comma B, B comma B, so all these elements you have to make the connections A, B, C, D. Okay, make 4 circles and write A, B, C, D in that, and whatever connection they have given, make arrows to it. Okay, for A comma B, suppose A comma B, make an arrow. Okay, that is known as digraph of a relation. If they ask for transpose, see transpose, what you need to do, if they ask the transpose for this, A comma B will be written as B comma A, C comma D will be written as D comma C. Okay, that's the transpose. Coming to the questions which can be asked under the topic of find the partition of the A induced by R. See, they will have given you a set of all elements and they will give you a relation R. See, the relation R is defined as x minus y is a multiple of 5. You can take any two elements and check if it's a multiple of 5. Suppose I took 1 and 2. 1 minus 2 is not a multiple of 5. 1 and 6. 1 minus 6 is a multiple of 5. So 1 comma 6 will be included in this set. So you need to find all the elements like that and note it down here. The second step you need to do is you need to find the equivalence classes. Starting from 1, what all is 1 connected to? 1 is connected to 1, and you need to find more here which all it is connected 1 comma 6. Okay, so you will note down all this 1, 6 and 11. 1 is connected with 1, 6 and 11. Like that we will do for all, like 1 to 5, and until you need to do until all those elements which are in the set A are included in this. Okay, after doing that you need to check if any element is getting repeated. If it is getting repeated, you need to consider another class. Okay, see here it's not getting repeated, so you can take all these elements and make the partitions, like the whole set of A is divided into these parts, one part, two part, and so on. So what you have to do, write P as P is equal to equivalence classes of 1 to 5, then write what is 1 class, 2 class, and everything, write it as union. Okay, that's the way to solve the equivalence class question. But very important topics. Partial order, if you need to prove, you need to check the relation R if it is reflexive, antisymmetric, and transitive. For total order, you need to check if x comma y belongs to R or y comma x belongs to R. Either of these should belong to R. I'll explain it with an example now. See, in exam the question will be given like this. Okay, so you need to find the partial order. Before that, let me tell you about Hasse diagram. Make the diagram with pencil first. Okay, because many modifications will be there, so you need to make with pencil first. Then after the final you have made, then you make it with pen. Okay, keep it in mind. Then see, coming to the question, they will be given you will be given with a set. Okay, 1 to 12 or any elements they will give you, and they'll give R. R is defined as x r y if only if x divides by y. Take two elements, take x as 4 and y as 2. Take x as 4 and y as 2. 4 divides 2, yes, so 4 comma 2 belongs to R. Write that element sets all which belongs to R. Then you need to check three things. If R is reflexive, okay, a comma I belongs to R, you need to check for all, like A has this many elements, right? Check for each element. 1 comma 1 belongs to R, 2 comma 2 belongs to R. Like that you need to check for all elements. If it is belonging to R, then R is called as reflexive. For antisymmetric, remember one thing, for any element you take 1 comma 2, 2 comma 1 should not belong to R. For 1 comma 3, 3 comma 1 should not belong to R. For all these elements, if it is true, then it is called as antisymmetric. The third thing you need to check is if R is transitive. Take any two elements like 1 comma 2, 2 comma something like 2 comma 4. If 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 4 belongs to R, then 1 comma 4 should also belong to R. Yeah, it belongs to R. Like that you need to check for all the elements. If it is true, then R can be called as transitive. If these three things are satisfied, then R is a partial order on the set A. Alright, now see, remember this, take a screenshot of this and keep here. I will be explaining the Hasse diagram also here. Okay, see, for Hasse diagram you need to check the elements here, 1 2 3 4 6. What's the least element? 1. Okay, so you need to write this here, 1. Then 1 comma 2 belongs to R. Okay, refer that screenshot and see here, 1 comma 2 belongs to R, 1 comma 3 also belongs to R. So 2 and 3 will be at the same level. Even 1 comma 4 belongs to R, so you will put 4 also on the same level. And but in the next iteration you need to change it. Okay, because 2 comma 4 also belongs to R, so you will write 2 comma 4 and you will not make the connection with 1 comma 4. Okay, because you can go through 2, right? If you want to reach 4, you can go through 2. Okay, so you need not make this connection. Like that only you need to do for 3. If 3 comma 6 belongs to R, the 6 will be in the next level. If 6 has some relation with other element, that will be in the next upper level. Okay, like that you need to make this diagram, all the connections. If some connection is possible, like 1 comma 8 also belongs to R, but 1 comma 8 can be gone through this connection, so you need not make this connection. Okay, 4 comma 12 belongs to R, but 4 comma 12 can't be gone through any other connection, so we are making one connection here, 4 comma 12. Okay, so that's the way Hasse diagram is made. You need to make many modifications, so make with pencil first, then in exam make it with pen finally when you are sure. That's the Hasse diagram. These are some of the key points which you need to make a note of. They will be giving you a set like B is equal to C comma D comma E, and they will be giving you this Hasse diagram. Okay, then what you need to do, see, you need to, if they ask you to find the maximal element means no edge should start from those elements. See in this, G comma H, no edge is starting from this, right? So these are the maximal elements. Minimal means no edge should end at these elements, means before this no edges are there, those elements will consider A comma B. If they ask you to find upper bound of B, which is C comma D comma E. Now see the elements C, D and E. What are the elements connected with all of these in the upper region, that is known as upper bound. F, G and H are upper bound. Similarly lower bound for C, D and E, which is A comma C comma B. Okay, A comma C comma B. These are, C is also included because it is also connected with the lower bounds, okay, of these three elements. Okay, now GLB means greatest lower bound. In this A, C and B, which is the greatest element, which is the most top element? C. Then lower upper bound, in upper bounds, which is the most lowest element? F. So that will be the lowest upper bound. One thing you need to keep in mind is whatever the elements we take for upper bound and lower bound, that elements like these elements, these should be related to all of these elements. Okay, means connection should be there. If you take for upper bound, okay, why we did not take D, E or C for upper bound? It is because if you take D is not connected with E, right? In C comma D comma E, D is not connected with E, so we can't take D. E also we can't take, and C also we can't take because C came down. If in upper bound we will consider the upper elements only. So but in lower bound we can consider C because C is connected with both D and E. So for lower bound we can consider C also. Okay, so in that way we consider C also here. It depends on the question. Function is also another type of relation, but one thing the function has is whatever will be the elements in A. Okay, if a function is from A to B, whatever will be the elements in A, it cannot have two images. Nothing can go out from any element 2. Okay, means one connection only will be there for each element. Any two elements can have the same connection, but only one connection should go out from A for each element. Okay, that is known as a function. And 1, 2, 3, this whatever elements are there in A, that is known as domain, and whatever elements are in B, that is codomain, and how many connections are being made to this B are known as range. Okay guys, coming to the type of functions, you have 5 type of functions. Identity function means it should be having whatever element we put here, the result should also be the same. It can be 1 to 1, 2 to 2, like that. That is identity function. Constant function means if whatever element you put, if 1, 2, 3, it should give a same result. Okay, like 1 to 3, 2 to 3, 3 to 3, 4 to 3, like that. Okay, and onto function and 1, 1 function, you need to remember onto is for B. No element in B should be free, all the elements should have some pre-image. And 1 to 1 means no element in A should be free, all the elements in A should have some connections. And if it is bijective means if it is both onto and 1, 1. These are the type of functions. These are some of the properties which could be very helpful if you remember. See, if it is 1, 1, number of elements in A is less than or equal to B. Similarly for onto, and if function is bijective, both the elements number are equal. And if A is having m elements and B is having n elements, then n raised to m functions are there from A to B. In exam they can come, it can come that how many functions are possible if A and B are given. And if m is less than n, then there are this many 1 to 1 functions. For onto there is another formula. For that you need to know about Stirling number. Okay, Stirling number means if A has m elements and B has n elements, then P of m comma n is defined as this, and S of m comma n is defined as P of n comma n by n factorial. Okay, this is known as Stirling number. So these are the two ways in which you can apply that formula. See, if no places are left empty, you have to use this formula, and the number of possible ways to assign m distinct objects to n identical places with empty places allowed. If empty places are allowed, then you have to use this formula. Okay, and coming to composition of functions, see, there are some 4 things you need to keep in mind, okay, that you can remember and understand by yourself. If you need to find h of g of f, sometimes they will ask you to prove this is equal to this. If you first you have to find this one, h of g of f. What you need to do first, write h of g like this only and write f of x. Okay, then proceed. If you need to find h of g of f, then write h like that only, keep h like that only, and first expand the bracket here. Okay, g of f of x. Okay, in that way you need to proceed. Invertible functions means if there are set of elements in A as well as in B, if A has the image in B and B has the pre-image in A, that is known as inverse of this function. Okay, in inverse you need to remember this, g of f is equal to IA and f of g is equal to IB. Okay, now how do you need to check that? IA is equal to, IA means whatever, if A you put, you will get the result as A. Like that only G of f of A. What is G of f of A? F of A, if you put A in f of A is defined as B. See, in this function, if you put f of A, you will get the result B, right? Then G of B means if you put G of B here, you will get back to A. So if you are putting here A, you are getting A again here, that is IA. So IB also you need to do in similar way, f of G of B, and you will get B here. Okay, you are putting B here in the input and you are getting B in the output, that is IB. If IA and IB are also true, then the function is invertible. Also G of f of inverse is equal to G of f inverse is equal to f inverse or G inverse. Okay, this can be useful in solving numericals. If function is invertible, you have to keep this in mind. See, if it is invertible, if it's 1 1 and as well as onto, okay, if it is 1 1 and onto, then only it can be invertible. Okay, if A is equal to B means if it is invertible, if A is equal to B, then the following holds true: f is 1 1, f is onto, and f is invertible. Okay, these are some things you need to keep in mind. You can use them in solving numericals. Pigeonhole principle is a simple concept which I will be demonstrating with you by using an example. Okay, see, if m pigeons occupy n holes, okay, and m will always be greater than n. How you need to identify what is m and n? M will always be greater than n, and this is the formula: p is equal to m minus 1 by n. First you need to find p. Let's consider an example. If 5 colors are used to paint 26 doors, see, 26 is m and 5 colors is n. Okay, you got m and n. You need to find p. P is equal to m minus 1 by n, that is 5. P you got 5. Then how many will be there? Must contain at least p or 1, p plus 1 or more. So when you have found p 5, you have to add 1 to it, at least 6 or more. Okay, so that's the question they will be giving you. See here, prove that at least 6 doors will be having the same color. So p plus 1 is 6, that will be having the same color. Same technique you have to apply for all the questions under this topic. In module 4 you have these formulas which are very important, like A union B, this formula, A naught, what is the formula, S is the total number of elements, and A means a particular set in that total number of set. Okay, these formulas are there, and I will be giving you example by which you can understand what it is. See, remember these things, S naught, S1 and all. See, you can remember like this: S naught means there will be no A element in it, S1 means 1 A element, S2 means 2 A element, S3 means 3 elements, and so on. Okay, Sn means n elements. Now I'll be showing you the main formula. See, this is the main formula. If you have A1, A2 and all, or all union, you will consider this: S naught minus S1 plus S2 minus S3, like that till Sn. Okay, now I'll be giving you the example how to solve this type of question. Okay, see, first thing you need to see this, remember two things. If they ask exactly m of the given n conditions, first one is exactly, and second one you need to see this, second one is at least. Okay, first one was exactly and second is at least. Okay, these are the formulas. See, first they have given question like this. Under this topic most of the questions come in this similar way. In a hostel, this one is study maths and this one is study physics and chemistry and biology. Okay, they will be giving the number, then they will be giving you 5 students study A and B and 7 A and C, like that they will give, and some study all 3 and some study all 4 and all they will give. Okay, note it down. And if they study all of the subjects, like it will be intersection. Okay, then you need to find S. First you need to write it down all like this. Okay, first A, how many study the physics or maths subjects you need to write, then how many study maths and physics, maths and chemistry, like that you need to write, and for 3 subjects as well as for 4 subjects. Okay, after you have written all that, then you need to find S, means total number of students in the university. For this is the formula: A bar intersection B bar intersection C bar intersection D bar can be written as A union B union C union D whole bar. Okay, and this can be expanded as S minus A union B union C union D. Okay, remember this, it's very very important. Now see, then after expanding this, what you will get, this is defined as A plus B plus C plus D plus A intersection B plus A intersection D minus 3 times plus 4 times. Okay, that you need to remember. Okay, if you remember this, then you have to just substitute the things and you will get the answer. Refer to the previous page which I had showed the formula. It's same as this one: S naught minus S1 plus S2 minus S3. Okay, in S1 only 1 A was there, in S2 2 A will be there, like 2 will be intersecting, and in S3 3 will be intersecting, and so on. Okay, this is the same thing, that's why I told you remember these things. S1, see, in S1 it is A intersection B plus A intersection C, like two things intersecting at the same time. Okay, that sum is known as S1. For S2, if three things are intersecting, that S2, like that, till how many elements can be formed, that many S you have to find and find the sum, then you will get the final answer. Now they can ask you to find at least X or exactly X. Suppose they ask you this question: find out how many students exactly study one subject and find out how many students study at least one subject. For exactly one subject, you have to use EM formula. Okay, in place of M you have to substitute 1 in this whole formula, then you will get the answer. Second, for LM, LM means at least one subject, you have to substitute 1 in this formula. For LM there is a different formula, substitute that and you will get that answer for at least one subject in this way. Okay, when you will substitute, N is 4 means how many total subjects are there. And this one which I have written in brackets, this is nothing but 2C1, 3C2, 4C3. okay, in shortcut we write like this. So you will get E1 here. Similarly for LM also you need to find the same. N will be 4, M will be 1, substitute that and you will get the answer here. Okay, that's the way for LM and EM. Okay guys, in derangements you will have one formula which you need to use everywhere in whatever question they ask. See, this is the formula. By an example you will understand how to use this formula. Okay, now see, another short form of this formula is this one: dn is equal to n factorial into E inverse. Okay, that's another formula. Now suppose they give you this question: find the number of derangements of 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so 5 is the n, so you'll write 5 factorial into 1 minus 1 by 1 factorial plus 1 by 2 factorial, like that you will keep on increasing till n. Okay, plus minus, first one will be minus here. Okay, in that way if you do that factorial and all, you will get the final answer here. That is derangement. For all the questions you need to do the same thing. For root polynomial they will be giving you this type of question: find the root polynomial for this box. Okay, what you need to do, first n you have to write. N is equal to R1 is equal to 5. Okay, every time whatever, how many elements are there, 5 elements are there, right? N is equal to R1 is equal to 5. Okay, first you need to write how many elements are there. Second, what you need to do, how many you have to find R2 next. Okay, how to find R2? Suppose that I selected each element. Okay, you have to start from the starting element and check. See, if you select this element and cut the row of this, okay, cut this row and cut this column. If you cut both row and column, what will be left? 5. 1 comma 5 is in different row and different column, right? So that you will select it. 1 comma 5 is one option. Second, for second, if you select cut the row and cut the column, you will have two options left: 2 comma 4, 2 comma 5. So you'll write 2 comma 4 and 2 comma 5 here. Then for 3, if you select 3 here, cut the row and cut the column, then you will have 3 comma 4 left, right? 3 comma 4, like that. For 4, if you cut this row and column, you will have left 2 comma 4 comma 2 and 4 comma 3, but 2 comma 4 is same as 4 comma 2, so we will not consider that. Same case for 4 comma 3 also. Okay, and for 5 also we need not consider, because with 2 and with 1 which is already taken here, 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 5, so we will not consider that. Count how many positions you got, write R2 as 4. Then R3 you need to find. Select 3 elements at one time, 1 2 3, any 3 elements. If you check any 3 elements, suppose if you take 1 4 and 2, you need to cut the rows of 1 4 and 2. If you cut this row 1 and row 2, nothing elements will be left. Okay, so R3 R4 and 5 everything will be 0 in this case. Okay, so the root polynomial formula is this: R of C comma X. Okay, C means this one, this box is known as C. Okay, that is equal to 1 plus 5x. 5 is this R1. Okay, 1 plus R1x plus R2x square, 4x square. If R3 was also there, R3x cube. In that way you need to write root polynomial, and that's the end of the question. And next type of question you can expect in exam is find the root polynomial using expansion formula. Okay, in expansion formula what you need to do, see, if they have given this box, what you need to do, put a star in any of the boxes, and when you put the star, cut the row and cut the column. When you cut this row and cut the column, 4 will be left. Write 4 here and mention it as D. This is known as C. Okay, whatever box they give every time, that is known as C. When you cut the row and the column, you will have D here, which is 4. Then second, E, what you have to write, whatever element you have marked here, don't consider it. Remaining elements you need to write in the same way, 3 4 and 2. Now what you need to do, find RDX and REX. Okay, RDX means for D, if you cut the row and column of 4, it has only one element, so R2 can't be formed. R1 means how many elements are there in this one, like in the previous one also you find R1, right? N is equal to R1 is equal to 5, that means how many elements were there? R1 is 1. Okay, so if R1 is 1, how you will write? 1 plus R1x. R1 is 1, so 1 plus x, that is R dx. Second step, you need to find for E also R e comma x. Okay, For E comma X, what you need to do, first find n is equal to R1 is equal to 3. For board E, 3 elements are there. For so n is the number of elements, n is equal to R1 is equal to 3. So R1 has 3 elements, so R1 is equal to 3. Then R2. R2 means consider any of the elements like 2. If you cut the row and the column, you will have 2 comma 3 left. If you consider 4, cut the row and the column, you will have no element, you can't consider that. For 3, similarly, if you cut the row and the column, you will have 3 comma 2 left, but that is already taken by 2 comma 3. So only 2 comma 3 will be remaining, that we will consider. R2 is equal to 1. R3 will be 0. If you consider all 3 elements and cut the rows and the column, you will have no element left, so you can't consider that. So R2 you got 1, and you should write R E comma X formula, that is 1 plus R1x plus R2x, R2x square. R1 you got 3, no, so write 1 plus 3x plus R2 is 1, so plus x square, 1 plus 3x plus x square. That third step, after finding RDX and REX, you have to write RCX. The RCX formula is this one, XR x RDX plus REX, okay, multiply x with RDX. RDX what you got, 1 plus x, okay, so substitute here 1 plus x, okay. See, RC comma x is given as x into RDX, RDX is 1 plus x, then plus REX, REX is this one, right? Simplify this and you will get the final answer RCX, okay. If there another formula is there, this is a different one. If they have given a board C, okay, if it is a big board, you need to separate it into 2 parts, okay. See, first part is this, second part is, you can separate it any form. If they have given in this form, you should do in this form, right? C1 as this, what will be this, and C2 as this, okay. After you have written that, then what you need to do, find C1x and C2x. How you will do that? In C1, count how many elements are there, right? N is equal to R1 is equal to 3. Then R2, consider one element, and if suppose 1 you consider, cut the row and cut the column, 1 comma 3 is left, so write 1 comma 3, only 1 is there, so R2 is equal to 1. Like that, similarly for C2 also you find it, and find C1x and C2x. After you find R of C1x and R of C2x, what you need to do, this is the formula, R of C comma x is equal to C1x into C2x, okay. That's the same formula, substitute it and simplify, you will get RC comma x. Final topic under Rook polynomials is forbidden positions. See, the question will be like this. It's a quite big question, but pay attention, it is very easy. 4 persons are given, okay, 4 persons, P1 to P4, who arrive late for a dinner. Find that only one chair at each of the 5 tables are given here is vacant, okay. So observe here, 4 persons and 5 tables you have to pay attention to. P1 will not sit at T1 or T2. There are many conditions given here. Then find the number of ways they can occupy the vacant chairs. All the questions will be of similar type. So what you need to do first, see. Now, like these conditions are given, right? Observe these conditions. X will not Y, means P1 will not sit at T1 or T2, okay. So P1 is X and T1 or T2 is Y, okay. So person is X and tables are Y. So X will be like persons will be some object, okay, it's like object and all, and that will be considered as M will be taken as rows. You will understand when I will show you the table, okay. First remember this, X means persons, they are some objects, and Y is some place, like table is a place, right? So Y can be taken as some place, and that you have to take in columns. Still, if you don't understand, you can just use this formula, N is always greater than or equal to M. Some places which they give, right, that you have to take as N, and some objects that as M, okay. Then next step, what you need to do, after you identify what is M and what is N, M is the number of rows, okay, M is the number of rows, means this one, and N is the number of columns. That's why it's very important that you write what is M and N, okay. After you have done that, what they told, like person 1 doesn't want to sit in T1 and T2, right? So shade it, okay. Like person 2 doesn't want to sit in T2, so shade it. After you shaded all that, make a Rook polynomial out of it, like 1 2 3 is written as like this, and 4 5 6 7, okay, write like this and separate it into 2 parts for easy purpose. You can do directly also, but if you separate, it will be simpler process. Then similarly find RCX. In the previous slide I have shown you how to find the Rook polynomial by dividing, right? And after doing that, you have to find in RCX you will get one formula, right? So this is R1, R2, R3, R4. Find that R1 is 7, R2 is 16, R3 is 13, R4 is 3, okay. After writing all that, what you have to do, you have to find the number of ways. They have asked in the question, right, to find the number of ways. So how you will do that? See, right, s naught minus s1 plus s2 minus s3 plus s4 till sn. Okay, now what you need to do here, 5 is n factorial, it's the formula, n factorial minus s minus 1 factorial into r1, s minus 2 factorial into r2. This is not s, this is n minus 2, 5 minus 1, then 5 minus 2 with r2, 5 minus 3 with r3, and this minus plus will be alternating here till r4. Okay, how many r you get, that many times you have to do here. Okay, after doing that, find the answer. This will be the number of ways here, and here s naught is equal to n. Okay, what will be s naught, that will be same as n. Okay, that is 5 columns. Okay, see here, s naught you did that, right? What you need to substitute here, that's the same as the number of columns, which is n. Substitute n here and find the number of ways in this form. In recurrence relation, what you have to do, in first order of recurrence relation, step 1, they will give you this formula. Okay, an as this formula, and you need to find out if it is homogeneous or heterogeneous. Okay, homogeneous or non homogeneous formula you have to find out. If the f of n is 0 here, that will be homogeneous. If it is f of n is not 0, then it will be non homogeneous. If it is homogeneous, this is the formula of general solution. If it is non homogeneous, this is the general solution. Okay, now let's consider an example for homogeneous. See, this is the function which they will give you. An is equal to c an minus 1, c into an minus 1. Okay, so c is this, and they will be giving you one condition here, that is general, that is homogeneous, because there is no f of n here. With this, another function is not there, so it is homogeneous. So the general solution of homogeneous is, in that previous which I had shown you, an is equal to c raised to n into a naught. See here, the general solution for homogeneous is an is equal to c raised to n into a naught. So you need to find out all of that. How to do that? See, they have given you this general formula. So what you need to do in the first step, substitute 1 here. This will be a naught. Okay, a naught value they have given, not given. Okay, so keep it like that only, a naught. Here a2 value is given. Okay, so we will arrive till a2 and then find what is a naught. Okay, now see, a1 is equal to 7 into a naught. Keep it like that. Then a2, what is a2? If you substitute 2 here, it will be a2 is equal to 7 into a of 2 minus 1, a1, 7a1. So write 7a1. a1 you got here, right, 7a naught. So substitute 7a naught in this place. You will have 7 square into a naught. Like that for 3 it will be 7 cube into a naught. Like that for n you will have this general solution, 7 raised to n into a naught. Okay, so a n you got here. Now you will find what is a naught. For n is equal to 2, they have given a2, right? a2 is equal to 98, they have given in the question. So a2 is equal to, you will write like this, 7 square a naught, and then substitute the value of a naught, a2 here, and you will get 7 square 49 a naught. A naught you will get 2. When you have got a naught is equal to 2, substitute back in the formula in the general solution. A n is equal to 7 raised to n into a naught, which is a naught is 2, so 2 into 7 raised to n is the final answer. Okay, for first order homogeneous, this is the way you solve. In case of heterogeneous, you will have this form, an is equal to c an minus 1 plus some function will be given. See, if you rearrange this, an if you keep aside, you will have this formula, and this is f of n. Okay, see, this is f of n, you got here f of n, and c is 3 here, c into an minus 1, in that form it will be given, so c is equal to 3 you got. Okay, now what is the general solution for f of n? If f of n is not 0, what will be the general solution? See here, the general solution is given as an is equal to 3 raised to n a naught, means c raised to n a naught plus this thing. Okay, substitute that 3 here, c raised to n minus k and everything, and expand this. When you expand this, you will get the final form here, an. Okay, an, that is a general solution, c raised to n into some function you will get here, that's the final form after simplifying. Okay, I hope so you can identify why I took like this and why it's like this. Okay, it's pretty simple to understand, and I don't think so explanation is required for that. This is a very good question which explains exactly what is recurrence relation. Okay, see, a file is there, okay, and it is affected by virus in a system. Okay, that is 1000 viruses are affected in a system. Okay, now this increases to 50% every 2 hours. After 2 hours it will be increasing to 250% more. Okay, so you have to find a recurrence relation to determine the number of viruses. Now firstly you need to see what is a naught. A naught means initially how much value of virus is there, 1000, right? It as 1000. Then write an means number of files after 2n hours. See, after every 2 hours it is increasing, right? So after 2n hours it will be an. So you'll write a1 is equal to a naught plus 250% a naught. See, a1 means after 2 hours. After 2 hours it will be how much value was there plus 250% of that value. So for a2, a1 will be there initially plus 250% of a1, like that. For an, what it will be, an means what is the previous value of an plus 250% of an minus 1. That you can derive a general formula. An is equal to 3.5 into a n minus 1. Keep an minus 1 and take common as an minus 1. You will have 1 plus 250%, that is 3.5. Now you got this general recurrence solution. Now in this relation you can observe an is equal to c an minus 1. C is this, C is 3.5. When you get C as 3.5, it's easy for you to calculate f of general solution, because this is a homogeneous solution. F of n is not there, so the general solution is given by an is equal to c raised to n a naught. Okay, so you will have here c, you got from the previous one, c raised to n into a naught. What is a naught? That is 1000 initial value. So an you got here. This is a general solution. Now you have to find out how many virus will be affected. They have asked in the question after 1 day, means 24 hours. For 2n hours you have to find, if 2n hours means 24 hours, what is n? N is 12. Okay, if n is 12, you have to find a12, means after an means n is 12 here, right? So a12 you need to find. Substitute n here and find out 12. Find out the answer after substituting, you will get this answer. Okay, this many files will be affected after 1 day. If in the question it's of the form cn minus 1 as well as cn minus 2, okay, if these three things come, it's of the second order. First you need to recognize that. Then take this as an, take an as k square, an minus 1 as k, an minus 2 as 1. Okay, then you will have this formula. Then find the roots k1 and k2 by using that what it is called, x is equal to plus or minus root square, that one formula. You need to find out this roots. Okay, roots of k1 and k2. Then if the roots are real and distinct, there are three cases. If it is real and distinct, remember the roots k1 and k2. How you need to write? An is equal to a into k1 raised to n plus b into k raised to n. Okay, a and b are constants. I will be explaining you with an example for each of this. Now if k1 is equal to k2 is equal to k, if you have got real and equal roots, this is the answer. If it is imaginary, then this is the answer. Okay, I will be demonstrating you all the three cases. An plus an minus 1 minus 6 an minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, they will give you a naught and a1. Now what you need to do, find out cn. Cn here is cn will be with an, that is 1, so 1. With an minus 1 also it is 1. With an minus 2 is minus 6, so cn minus 2 is minus 6. Now what you need to do, consider this an minus 1 and an minus 2 as k square, k and 1 respectively. So it will be 1k square plus 1k minus 6. Substitute values of cn minus 1, cn minus 2, you will have this formula. Then simplify it and find the roots. Okay, after that you have to do this an. Write the an which you have in the main formula, a into k1 raised to n plus b into k2 raised to n. This is one general formula you got. You need to find what is a and b. How you will do that? They have given a naught and a1, right? Now put n is equal to 0 in this equation, because a naught is given. So a naught you will get here, a naught is given, so you will get a naught here. It's minus 1, so you will get here minus 1 is equal to a into 3 raised to 0. Put n is equal to 0 here and n is equal to 0 here. You will get this formula. You will have one equation, a plus b. Now for second one, a is equal to 1, put 8. You will have this formula here and put that 8 in the n place, and you will have this formula, and another one you will have here. You will have these two equations. Okay, and after solving it, you will get the values of a and b, which you will be substituting in the main equation, and that will be your final answer. If roots are imaginary and distinct, or it is equal, the same thing you need to do, and find a and b and substitute that in the final equation. Okay, still if you have any doubts how to do that, you can contact me. I will explain you anytime. Okay.